So that was her idea, and then her prototype sort of walked through sort of what that would look like from a systems perspective. So that was the last one. So that is what we have done to date, and now we do have a very long list of ideas, and some of them came from community members, some came from the BPD, some came from idea generation activities that we did as a team, and we're starting to narrow that down and have a portfolio of things. So we do have direction on where we're going on a number of things, and some things that have already been in progress, like with improvements to the hiring process and things like that.
And over the course of how many months has this work taken?
I started the IT team the last week in November, so the bulk of the qualitative research was done in December and January. And then in February and March were spent analyzing everything that we had. Prior to when I started, the team had already done the literature review and data analysis of the BP's data and the volunteer stuff.
So are there, Major Hands talked about things that the IT had identified and looking at best practices, how to handle marijuana use, how to handle the physical fitness piece. Of all the things, is the IT done? Is the list of solutions done? And of those proposed solutions, how many of them are currently in the process of being implemented? Roughly.
Yeah, so we're not done. So like things are in various stages. I mean, along the way of this kind of months where we've been doing research, we've also been kind of testing out some things. For example, this physical fitness boot camp that the major talked about. And so we're sort of in different stages of kind of, moving certain things along. Yeah, so I was thinking, yeah. So this is a little bit just a way to, again, this is also, again, not the list of everything that we're working on, but at least kind of frames a little bit like some of the types of things that are in motion, right now. So if you look from like top to bottom, it's sort of the inverse pyramid. You'd want to see, a candidate being aware, considering, and then of course applying, and then eventually getting selected and hired. Ideally, that's what you want to see happen. And what we identified, we had a few other slides, but to summarize, we're not getting enough applicants, so that top of that pyramid is too narrow. And then the sort of selection process itself is both sometimes eliminating people for reasons you might not want to, just as the major talked about, for example, marijuana usage. But also, maybe also there was room to be testing for things that we think have been identified as really essential for 21st century policing, in part through our research process. So in response to that, we're trying to kind of develop things that respond to some of the challenges, both at the recruitment end, attracting people to apply, and then the sort of how you actually select people once they do choose to apply. In terms of like on the recruitment end, we obviously, as the major and as Ray talked about, there's a lot of challenges in terms of the relationship between the department and the community, that goes back many years. So we do think that there's a need / opportunity to have to kind of begin to engage youth, your future potential candidates at a younger age. So we talked about Officer Friendly, we talked about the Police Explorers program. Officer Friendly was a program that was taken away, but it is coming back. So those are examples of sort of like points of engagement early on in the process. That's not something that our team is working on directly, but just examples of that. And then there's the cadet program itself, which again is sort of almost like you become like a junior officer before you can fully become an officer. That program had disappeared, it's come back, and we're looking to ramp it up as a way to bring in more young people like Malik at an age before they're ready or able to be a full officer at 20 years and 6 months. So we're looking at how do we expand that both by attracting young people into applying and also helping them out through the process itself. So that's expanded the cadet program. Targeted marketing, we think there's a huge amount of improvement, and Ray spoke to some of the issues that can be done in terms of how how the department is communicating the opportunity of working at the BPD to potential applicants, and we're working on shaping a sort of modern social media oriented campaign in collaboration with some different partners that we think is going to better speak to particularly local potential hires. So just to use an example, if in the past the emphasis has been sort of some of the action elements of the job, we want to see, and we heard in our research, that people are interested in the diversity of career opportunities that a department like the Baltimore Police Department offers. So again, it's not just being a patrol officer. You could end up in the diving unit, or you could end up as an investigator in the homicide unit or the child abuse unit. There's a huge amount of variety and a rich career that awaits you potentially if you take on this. So we want to find ways to kind of convey that more in marketing. And then finally, we've seen that given some of the morale challenges at the department, that a lot of officers, or not as many officers as you want to see, are recommending the job to future potential candidates. We know that throughout the country, referrals are a key way of bringing in the next generation of candidates. So we're looking at trying to both incentivize and to train your a wider set of patrol officers on recruitment, and sort of almost like expand Major Hance's team beyond just the formal recruitment unit. And we have some ideas on how to do that. And actually, like, selecting potential candidates. We spoke about the marijuana issue. We spoke about the sort of training for the physical agility test. Just to add one thing that we think is really important. One thing we heard, as Tamika mentioned earlier, that a key trait that we've heard from community members and officers that's absolutely essential to being an officer now more than ever are strong interpersonal skills. It's something that we think the hiring process could better assess for than it currently does. And so we're looking at bringing in some new, for example, new assessment that would use real-world video-based scenarios and questions based on those for candidates to respond to, that we think is going to be a really powerful and useful way to begin assessing candidates' sort of judgment and interpersonal skills in a way that goes beyond what's currently being done. So it's about sort of assessing for the right things and not eliminating people for the wrong things. We think there's ways to improve that. Those are some things that are like already in motion. Again, there's a list of probably 20 other ideas that I think we're still sort of in various stages of testing in. This community nomination concept that Emily just spoke about, that's something that we're sort of moving along, and there's a bunch others that we're sort of in the sort of testing phase of. But eventually, Tara, we'll have about sort of 7 initiatives that are sort of full scale that we want to move forward with. So we do have a couple more months at least that we're working on this to continue to roll out what those 6 or 7 focus initiatives will be.